Good afternoon. Moments ago, John Lutz, who had been found guilty of first-degree murder in a trial here in the Circuit Court for Montgomery County in December of 2016, was sentenced to a sentence of life without the possibility of parole. The murder in this case occurred in March of 2002. The victim was a young, brilliant social worker, Nicole Castro. I'm honored to be standing with her sister Joanna and her mother Jean here today. She was a young woman who was assigned through an organization known as Threshold to monitor John Lutz as a mental social worker, health worker in the community. The irony is that Ms. Castro actually made some change of plans and covered that day's work for a co-worker, was not supposed to be the person visiting Mr. Lutz. On the occasion of her going to Mr. Lutz's apartment, which was on February Circle in Silver Spring, Mr. Lutz made sexual advances towards Ms. Castro, which she rejected. She was then stabbed repeatedly and viciously killed by Mr. Lutz. Her body was discarded in a parking lot adjacent to his apartment by a dumpster, where it was discovered the next day. Condolences of the entire community go out to the Castro family. I will tell you that this family has shown tremendous courage and resolve to stay with us and to support us through 14 years as we have sought justice on behalf of their sister and their daughter. The 15-year delay in this case was caused because when Mr. Lutz, who was a doctor, was first evaluated by Clifton T. Perkins, he was found not criminally responsible to go to trial. Clifton T. Perkins got it wrong. We owe a great deal of gratitude in this community to Judge Rubin, who subsequently took a review of this case and the competency rulings and the findings of Clifton T. Perkins, and found that, in fact, Mr. Lutz was competent to stand trial. This matter went to trial, and is a further indication of the fact that Clifton T. Perkins did not get this case right. A jury convicted Mr. Lutz when the issue was criminal insanity, criminal responsibility, and he was convicted in less than 2 hours. The jury got it right, and Judge Rubin got it right, and the sentence he gave today of life without the possibility of parole was the only appropriate sentence. Because of the delay, and Mr. Sims, who allocated on behalf of the state at the times of up in court just moments ago, got it absolutely right. If he had not gotten a sentence of life without the possibility of parole, John Lutz would have been eligible for immediate release from the community because of the passage of nearly 15 years. We would have been in a position where another person like Ms. Castro would have had to try to monitor him in the community. Judge Rubin got it right. He could never take the risk because he found that Mr. Lutz continued to be a danger in the community, and he was not going to place any other person like Ms. Castro in danger of having to try to supervise this man in the community again. Again, I want to thank the trial team of Doug Wink, George Sims, and Debbie Grimes, who tried this matter, who finally brought justice in Nicole's name. I'm honored again to be joined by her mother, who spoke in open court moments ago, and Joanna, her older sister. Joanna has agreed to speak and has a statement that she'd like to read to you. She's also indicated to me that she does not wish to take questions about her statement, but it's my honor to introduce Joanna Castro.
Good afternoon. We wish to thank State Attorney General John McCarthy and his team for all the hard work in the murder case of our beloved Nicole. The road has been long and painful. After 14 years, justice was finally served. The accused was found guilty of first-degree murder and criminally responsible for the heinous act. He will be in prison with life without parole. We hope and pray today's sentencing will finally bring an end to the legal process. Regarding my sister's job to do home visits as a social worker, We know that things would have, or we would like to believe that things would have been differently had she been with a colleague. We hope that this case and that this policy is mandatory and not suggestive. Thank you.
If anybody has a few questions, we'll take them at this time. If not, yeah, Kevin.
John, what was your reaction to sitting in court and hearing John Lutz speak as the judge, but with so little amount of remorse, if any at all?
Well, I think that if you were in court, you realize that Mr. Lutz did not express any remorse. He acknowledged that this was a vicious attack with a great number of injuries. Mr. Lutz took responsibility, and it indicated he was responsible for 6, and indicated that the medical examiner's office was responsible for the remainder of those injuries. As I want to echo what Judge Rubin said in court, his comments in court reflect that he knew the criminality of his conduct, he knew knew what he was doing was wrong, and he minimized his involvement in the crime and failed to take any responsibility for the crime, which I think the judge found to be an aggravating factor. And certainly when you have a man before you that's done what he did in this case, who is taking so little responsibility, how can you ever trust that this person released back into the community would not do it again? I think it played a large factor in the sentence that was ultimately given by Judge Rubin. And again, Judge Rubin got it right. Thank you very much.